officially say to you, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back. I hope was a refreshing lunch break. Um, I trust you are all energized and ready to dive into our afternoon session. Let me just verify that everything is on and go, please, from the backgrounds and the others organizer. Please just drop me a message to say that everything is okay. Meanwhile, I would like you to just address some concerns about all the question. Hopefully, we will have to address them by the end of the conference. But this morning we had privilege of hearing from Massimo and Marco, who illuminated our path forward in project management. Their insight have set the stage for what will come next in the afternoon session. So let's explore something that was not planned, but it could be very interesting for us and develop what will come in the next session. Let me go through my presentation. As we embark on this second half of our day, I'd like to take you on a sort of a journey that will change maybe our perception and trying to connecting the dots between what we have learned and perhaps most importantly sparks new idea about the future of project management in our, I would say, rapidly digitalizing world. But before we begin, I'd like you to all take a moment and try to imagine the most complex, challenging project you have ever managed. Did you got it? Okay, so now try to imagine that project will never end. And the goals is keep moving. And the stakeholders keep changing and the technology evolves faster than you can keep up. Sounds stressful, doesn't it? But what if I told you that this scenario isn't just an hypothetical nightmare, it's the reality of project management nowadays? What if I suggested that this apparent chaos could be maybe our greatest opportunity? So I'd like you to welcome you inside the world of the what we call the infinite game in project management. In this game, the objective isn't to win, because how can you win a game that never ends, right? So I would like to think, oh, okay, maybe it sounds chaotic. How can possibly we can manage projects in such an environment? And those thoughts will be right. But here's the thing, is the reality in which we live, work, and create. Think about it. Is any project ever truly finished? Does software development ever reach a final unchangeable state? Are our business processes ever set in stone, immune to the forces of technological disruption? Of course not. And that's where the concept of infinite game becomes so powerful for us as project managers. So we'll discover during the whole afternoon how embracing the infinite game mindset can help us navigate the complexity of the digital age. where changes is the only constant. And I think that the adaptability is the key for our survival. Okay. But before we dive into that, let me tell you a bit about who we are and what is our work in SUPSI that has led us to this insight and this conference today. So let me just check that everything is all right. I didn't get any kind of messages, so I think that we are ready to go. Okay. So I would say back into our business. So for those who have just joined or missed the morning introduction, I am Virginie Pascon, and I have the privilege of being your host for today. There's a question. Let me just check that everything is right. And that's okay. Thank you, Elizabeth. I will get all of your question in the late afternoon. Okay. So I was saying this morning you were welcomed by our esteemed director Milena Properzi, and now I'd like to share a bit about what keeps us busy at SUPSI, and particularly in our Department of Innovative Technology. You see, here at SUPSI, we're not happy with simply teaching projects, project management. We are constantly pushing a little bit our boundaries, seeking new insight and evolving our understanding of what it means to manage project in the digital age. One of the way we do this is through our department observatories. Think of these as a watchtower scanning the horizon of the business and technology landscape. We observe something like what are the trends. We try to identify emerging challenges and spot what we are waiting for, so the opportunities. But the other things, we don't stop at observation. Through our competence center, we transform this valuable insight into practical training and research opportunity. We are not just theorists. We love to call ourselves as practitioner. We are committed to bridging a little bit the gap between the academic knowledge and the real world application. So let me just officially thanks also APM Ticino, Project Management Association here in Tessin, and the Project Management World Journal for all the support. I would say often, just to continue our discussion, this process of observing evolves into something even more exciting, tailored to support projects for our partners company. In a way, and with the years, we've, I would say, unofficially become their confessional and sort of training idea incubator for all the things related to project management, and not only, of course. So we have the privilege to be in a unique position, as I already said, at the intersection of academia, research, and industry, that actually led us to the insight we'll be sharing today. So we dive into our main topic again. So back to the infinite game. So to fully catch the power of the infinite game mindset, we need to first understand the distinction between finite and infinite game. This concept originally introduced by the scholar, it was James P. Cars, and developed recently by Simon Sinek. I suggest you his book. It's absolutely amazing. has profound implication for how we approach project management today. So I would say we start with the finite game. These are the game we are most probably familiar with, the ones that dominates our traditional understanding of competition, maybe, and achievement. Think of a football match, a chess game, or I don't know, a 100-meter dash. So first, we know all the players. In a football match, we have two teams with set numbers of players. Or in chess, we have two opponents. And I'm pretty sure that in a race, we know exactly who is with us or against us. And second, the rules are clear and fixed. In a soccer match, we know that it lasts 90 minutes. In chess, each pieces move in a specific way. Or bringing back the example I said before, a race is won by the first person to cross the finish line. And finally, there's a very well-defined goal. Score more goals, checkmate the king, cross the finish line first. So we know that when the goals is achieved, the game is over. Okay, we have a winner. The games absolutely can stop. So my question is, what about the infinite games? These are more nuanced, more complex, and frankly, more like real life. I think that in the infinite game, players come and go. We might know some of the players, but the others could surprise us by joining us unexpectedly. And what about the rules? This one is funny. Well, they can change over time, or sometimes it seems, apparently, there are no rules at all. And the goal is not to win in this in his traditional sense, but to continue playing, evolving, adapting. So I'm used to think about some example at that point. So think about culture or education or technological innovation. Is there actually a moment where we can say, oh, we have won the culture, or education is completed, or I don't know, innovation is finished? Of course not. These are all examples of infinite games. In an infinite game, success isn't measured by trophies or medals. It's measured by the ability to remain relevant, to continue participating, to adapt to changes. It's not about beating the opponent merely, at least, but about surpassing ourselves in a broad perspective, growing and constantly evolving. So now you might be thinking, this is all very interesting, but what does it have to do with project management? And I would say that it's an excellent question, you see. Traditionally, we have approached project management as if it were a finite game, like a silos. We have a defined team, a fixed set of requirements, a clear timeline, and specific goals. And normally when we reach that goal, the project is over. We declare victory and move to the next one. But it's truly like that. And in our digital age, is that really how things work? Viewing project management as a finite game actually falls short. Maybe we need a new paradigm. We need to start seeing project management as an infinite game. These, I would say, shift in perspective has a profound implication. It changes how we set the goals, how we measure success, and how we are dealing our team, and how we interact with the stakeholders. It requires us to be more adaptable, maybe more resilient, and maybe also focused on the long-term sustainability rather than the short-term win. So let me drop the slide. So as observers and practitioners, as I said previously in this field, we've asked ourselves actually a question. In a world with increasingly complex organization and rapidly changing digital context, how can project management can become a key to navigating these complexity? Okay, this isn't just a theoretical exercise. It's a practical necessity in a world where digital transformation is constantly reshaping the business landscape. The projects we manage are part actually of a larger ongoing initiatives. They are truly interconnected with shifting priorities and stakeholder. They are subject to rapid technological changes and evolving market demands. So actually, projects are infinite games. Okay, so how do we adapt our project management practice to this new reality? The answer, we believe, lies in broadening our perspective. And in a specific way, we've noticed that the principle of general management offers us a practical interpretation key. So think about it. General managers are used to dealing with ongoing, evolving challenges. They think in terms of long-term strategy, adaptability, and continuous improvement. These are exactly the skill we need in the infinite game of modern project management. I mean, at least it what we are observing, because if the project managers also wear the hat of the GM for their project, they could, I think, significantly increase their relevance. And we talk about strategic alignment, the leadership and human resource management, the fact that we need to have a systemic approach and a data-driven decision-making approach. And of course, as Massimo said this morning, you need to communicate and manage truly your stakeholders. For each of these areas, we are going to develop the topic this afternoon with our speakers and making us more effective and resilient, in the face of these new challenges. So just a note, remember and stay focused that the goal isn't to delete everything we know about project management and what is written on the books. It's about evolving our practice, okay, to better suit the reality of our digital world. It's about becoming not just project managers, but a little bit more strategic leaders, also capable of navigating the complexity of this infinite game. So I would start, as Massimo mentioned this morning, okay, we need to be strategically aligned. With who? With our organization and their goal. So in the traditional project management, we often focus on aligning our project with the predefined organizational goal. Okay, we create the charters, we define the scope, we set our milestones. All of this is still important. But an infinite game, we need to go a step a little bit further. The project manager should constantly ask itself, how does this project align with the organization long-term goals? But truly, how does it contribute to our ability to stay in the game? Okay, this might means regularly reviewing project objective, and it's about developing what we call systemic agility. Okay, it's something we are developing also here at the continuous learning department here at the DTI. So the ability to adapt quickly while maintaining an overall strategic vision. So let me give you a concrete example. Imagine you are managing a project to implement a new customer relationship management system, a CRM. In an infinite game mindset, your goal, it might be simply to get the system up and running by a certain date, within a certain budget. Job done, job closed, everyone goes home happy, right? But in an infinite game, you approach this a little bit differently. You'd be asking questions like, okay, so how this CRM system contributes to our long-term customer engagement strategy, for example, or I don't know, how can we implement it in a way that allows us for easy features, upgrades, and integration? Or again, how can we use this project to build capability in our team that will serve us maybe in future projects? So you see, in an infinite game, projects isn't just about implementing a system. It's about, in this case, enhancing the organization ability to build and maybe maintain customer relationship over the long term. It's about creating a foundation for the future innovation, or about developing skill and processes that will serve the organization well beyond the scope of the single project. Okay. So these make me think, without a purpose, there is no reason. For project managers, this means connecting every aspect of our project to a larger purpose, but for real, okay? Not just because it's written on a book. This shift in thinking has a profound implication for how we plan and execute projects. So we need to, we are asking, we are asked actually to be more flexible in our planning. And we need to think beyond the deliverables of our projects. They are not enough. So we need to foster a culture of continuous learning and recognizing that the skills and the knowledge gained during a project are often as valuable as the project immediate outputs. We need to communicate more efficiently with the stakeholders, because actually we need to help them understand not just what we are doing, but why we're doing it. And usually the tool could be a simple vision statement meeting at the beginning of the new initiative. And because of that, leadership and human resources management is a critical aspect. In an finite game, we might be happy or content with assembling a team that has the right skill to complete the project, right? But in an infinite game, where the challenges are constantly evolving and the finish line is always moving a bit, not because of the delays, of course, we need something more. We need to build what I like to call an elite team for our early birds from US. I am thinking about the Navy SEAL Team 6. And when I say elite team, I'm not talking about a group of superstar individual, the superstar performer. I'm talking about a team that it's a unit that is highly adaptable, resilient in the face of challenges, capable of operating efficiently and effectively, also in condition of extreme uncertainty, and united by a strong sense of shared purpose. Back to the SEAL Team 6. And I'm very well aware that we are not engaged, I would say luckily, in military operation, but bear with me, because these are valuable lessons that we can learn. I was reading a paper recently that the Team 6 is renowned for its ability to handle complex, high-stakes mission in rapidly changing environments. Does it sound familiar to you? That's exactly what we are facing in project management nowadays. So how can we, as project managers, create and lead such team? So we can maybe propose three approaches. The first one is the adaptive leadership. This means, okay, we need to be comfortable with the ambiguity and helping our team navigate the uncertainty. So as project manager, we need to encouraging experimentation and learning from failure. There's always a very nice example that I read maybe a few years ago when I was reading Anti-Fragility from Nassim Taleb, that it was describing the example of the chaos monkey in Netflix. So it was cutting this algorithm was cutting the processes in production of the streaming process, and the system administrators were observing how the system take place with the auto recoveries. And they use failures in the auto recovery for the bug discovery. That's amazing. So they include a systemic mistake process in order to be more resilient. That's amazing. That's how you can also help your people be a better team. So it's asking us to continuously adapting our strategies based on new information. For example, you might implement a regular innovation sprints where team members can experiment with new technologies or approaches, or like an hackathon or something like that. Or you could institute a lesson learned process that doesn't just happen when, okay, I remember to do it, and usually at the end of a project, but a true ongoing real process for the whole life cycle of our projects. And then we have what also, it's not merely kindness, is strategic kindness. So maybe kindness might not be the first word that comes into mind when you think about elite team or effective project management. But in an infinite game where long-term relationships are the key, kindness becomes a strategic asset. Strategic kindness involves maybe creating a psychologically safe environment where team members feel comfortable taking risk and sharing ideas. Or maybe recognizing and celebrating not just big wins, but also small victories and learning experience. Or let me think, practicing empathy to truly understand team members' perspective and real concerns. The Japanese might implement what we call kudos, a kudos system where the members can recognize each other's contribution, but not only merely about a task, but a personal growth and well-being. And finally, maybe the most important one of the three is trust building. Trust is actually the glue that holds elite teams together, especially when facing the uncertainty of an infinite game. And building trust involves being transparent in our communication, even when the news isn't good, or following through on commitment and holding others accountable to do the same. Or, I don't know, let me think, create opportunity for team bonding, not team building. It's a bonding beyond just work tasks. Everything, because your team is not, it's for real your most valuable asset. By investing in building a lead team, you are not just preparing for the next project, you are building a sustainable and competitive advantage for your organization. So, very well. We manage the strategy, we manage the people. What about the approaches, the methodology? So let's zoom out a bit and consider our projects in a broader context. projects are not isolated island. They are interconnected, part of a broader ecosystem. Think about programs and portfolio, for example. In this ecosystem, we have also market forces, or I don't know, technological trends, and more, and the fantasy go on. So adopting a systemic approach means understanding these interconnections. So I'm kind of happy that Adi that will take the token after my consideration right now. Hybrid could be a good way maybe to understand that there's other ways than waterfall and agile, and but with a little bit of control. Adi will probably will describe you a sort of a toolkit that combines elements from different approaches, or maybe understand that to contain a little bit the entropy generated by the hybrids approach, that we need the framework selection matrix or something like that, because maybe we need to pivot methodology mid-project because of the circumstances changes. And of course, it's as Marco Caressa told you this morning, don't forget that project management is made of processes. Okay, so it's a matter that we need a robust processes to execute. We cannot escape that. Okay, so maybe it could be interesting in developing a system map that visualize how our project connects with other initiatives, stakeholders, organizational goals, and ensuring that each process you implement contributes to the overall effectiveness of the system. Okay. And finally, of course, the continuous improvement. Project management is based on continuous improvement. In an infinite game, there's always room for improvement. And I'm talking about regular feed loops, for example. So again, continuous improvement, it's not meaning adding rigidity of enforcing the improvement, but fostering a culture of curiosity and continuous learning within the team could be absolutely useful to this systemic approach. And finally, my favorite one, the ability to make quick and informed decision. I'm an engineer, so I'm usually base my decision also about data, because sometimes the gut feeling and experience alone right now is not enough. We don't have historical experience. We are changing everything. So we need to leverage data, technology, and advanced methodologies to navigate these crazy moments. Okay, so that's why, as we explore this morning and we again retrieve insightful information from Dr. Pantelides in the afternoon, AI it's not just a buzzword. It's a powerful tool that can enhance our decision-making capabilities. It's important to understand which kind of approach we have to embrace with AI. Not just a replacement, of course, for human judgment, but as a super tool, as mentioned, and you are going to say it with Dr. Pantelides. What is the predictive analysis? It can be used for resource optimization, the risk identification. And again, for example, you might implement an AI-driven dashboard that provides real-time insight on project health, that flagging potential issue before they become critical problems. And because I've mentioned dashboarding, while AI can provide valuable insight, we need robust business analysis to understand context and translate it into actionable strategies. And this involves developing strong data literacy within our project team. or implementing tools and processes for effective data collection and analysis. Okay. And with Alberto, this late afternoon, you will explore that. So, and finally, a little note about what is the maturity models. But none of what we are saying is useful if we do not have a clear understanding of our current capabilities and a roadmap for improvement. And this is where project management maturity models come in, because they're providing us a framework for assessing our organization current project management capabilities. And because otherwise, where we go, where we invest, and offer us a roadmap for the continuous improvement, truly a path that we can follow. And for sure, maturity model can help identify areas where investment in skill or tool will yield the greatest benefits. So to be back to the infinite games is where the landscape is constantly shifting. These data-driven approaches give us a sort of an anchor. They allow us to be more proactive, to anticipate challenges and make decisions that are truly informed, that are clear understanding of the potential impact of the AI, of the technology, on what we have to do, simply what we have to do next. Okay, so in our final key area, and we are going to discuss during the round table, here we are in a central aspect of project management in the infinite game, truly. In an infinite game, stakeholders management might be primarily about keeping people informed and managing expectation for the duration of the project. But in an infinite game, whereas the project impacts extend far beyond its formal end date, and where stakeholders themselves may change over time, we need a more dynamic and strategic approach. And I'm talking about what we call mutual benefit. In this particular game, it's not enough to simply deliver what stakeholders ask for. We need to create value that goes beyond the immediate project deliverables. This means also understanding the long-term goal challenges for each stakeholder group, and find a way to align project outcome with these long-term stakeholder interests. It's about also maybe creating the opportunity for stakeholders and give them a sense of ownership, shared ownership. I was used to, when I was managing projects in my previous career, to implement a stakeholder value workshop at the start of each project, where we explore how the projects can create long-term value for all the involved parties. Okay, and because managing stakeholders is, I mean, it's critical. We know it's complicated because it requires to communicate. Okay, so maybe it's time to back to the basics. Take again through our hand the stakeholder register and maybe evolve it. Maybe we can consider developing an interactive stakeholder ecosystem map that can be easily updated and when the landscape changes. And maybe using again data analytics to identify emerging stakeholder groups or changing the stakeholder sentiment, as Massimo mentioned this morning. So it's important for that reason evolve also the type of relationship we have with the people around us. It's a matter of strategic partnership. In an infinite game, stakeholders are not just group to be managed, but potential partners in ongoing innovation and value creation. give you a very recent example. With our observatories and competency center, we try to do this, and it's absolutely fascinating to see that when we are facing a new problem or a new challenge, see that competitors can collaborate together to find a solution. Okay, because they compete on the market and not on how to deal with project management. So they work together because maybe the problem is shared. So, and they truly help each other. So creating what we call the innovation hubs, where stakeholders can co-create solutions to common challenges, amazing. By focusing on these three pillars I just mentioned, we transform stakeholder management from a reactive project-focused activity to, as mentioned from Marco this morning, to a proactive strategic function that creates value for all the parties involved. And because relationships are the true currencies, we need a resilient landscape and a resilient ecosystem, okay? Because we need to create a competitive advantage that goes well beyond any single project, okay? So I'm arriving, and just as a wrap up, because I have 1 minute to conclude and give the words to Heidi. As we Again, we wrap up our expectation of project management through the lens of the infinite game. I want to leave you with a question. What is the true purpose of our work as project manager in this digital era, if you want to use these words? The answer, I believe, goes far beyond the simply completing projects on time and within budget. And that's why I strongly push this conference to discuss and maybe open new chapter of this confrontation. We are actually redefining project management. We are transforming it from an exercise in completion that will stay. We are not, as I mentioned previously, we are not deleting anything. So we need to complete our projects. But we need to move to a process of continuous evolution, truly. So in this infinite game, our projects are not isolated initiative, and our teams are not just group of skilled individuals, but unit capable of navigating constant changes because they know what they are doing. It remembers for the Formula One fans, the quote of Kimi Raikkonen, I know, leave me alone, I know what I'm doing. But anyway, our decisions are not just based on experience and instinct, but informed by data and supported by advanced technologies.